Hello and good morning if you're based in London, good afternoon if you're based in Asia, and good evening if you're based in New York. My name is Walter Anger. I'm a forex trader specialized in trading pound dollar during the London Open. Now, what I'll be going through today is an update on my analysis of pound dollar. Just obviously leading on from yesterday's trading into today's trading. So just starting with the monthly, and then I'll be very brief with the high time frame because the analysis is exactly the same as it was at the start of the week. My projection is exactly the same also as it was at the start of the week. So I am anticipating full price to either break below the low of the range or to rally and take out monthly buy side target before a continuation to the downside. Now, if we take a look on the weekly time frame, right, so the analysis is exactly as I anticipated for price to trade into a weekly buy side, which is a weekly imbalance, and then we could potentially see a move down towards the weekly sell side, which is of course the low of the monthly range. So this is the next draw on sell side liquidity below this low on the weekly time frame. Right, so obviously what we've seen is a very strong rejection of the weekly imbalance. Now, if we go into the daily time frames, paints a lot more accurate picture of what we can anticipate sort of today and obviously the next few days ahead. We can see prices given 3 sessions of rise into the weekly imbalance, and thereafter we've seen a massive rejection as anticipated from the weekly imbalance, giving us that first session reversal. I am anticipating at least another bearish day continuation. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be on Friday, because price could simply consolidate for 1 to 2 days before a continuation to the downside. But the dominant bias in this situation is bearish. Now, taking a look at the 4 hour time frame, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave my analysis from the previous day and update it in real time so that you guys can see the projection of sort of how I update my analysis as time goes by. So if you guys can remember yesterday's trading session, I mentioned that price could take out the high of the 4 hour range, which is obviously this prior high, and then move on to H4 sell side, which is obviously this imbalance. Now, price did seek further sell side below this imbalance, such as this short-term low down here, and obviously we have this also lower level imbalance was also filled down here as well. Okay, so we've seen a very strong move towards sell side liquidity throughout yesterday's trading session after price took out buy side. Now, moving into today's trading session, the next draw on buy side liquidity is obviously going to be this imbalance right here. All right, so I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit more so you can see clearly. Um, Actually, one second. Is there an imbalance below this point? That's the question. No, there isn't. So the next draw on buy side liquidity is actually this imbalance right here. I do apologize. And then we obviously have a secondary imbalance just above it as well. And the next draw on sell side liquidity is going to be our short-term low below. So, which is going to be this low down here. So H4 sell side target right there. Right. So again, just exactly the same thought process as it was. I'm anticipating one of two things to take place at the beginning of this trading session. So number one, right, just to make that a little bit more accurate. I mean, this isn't really an imbalance because price has pretty much closed the gap. But I will be keeping an eye on these on this range. Okay, so this is a range that I'm definitely interested in. Let's delete that. Right, so one of two things I'm anticipating. So number one, for price to trade into this area of buy side liquidity, potentially even higher, because of course we do have this massive imbalance that still remains open from yesterday. And thereafter, I will be looking for an opportunity to go short. And of course, short target is going to be this initial short-term low down here. So this is primary target number one. And the secondary target is going to be the low of our daily range, which is also the same as the low of the 4 hour range. Okay. So from buy side to sell side. The second possibility is if we do have a very strong liquidity at the beginning of the London Open, we might see an inducement to the downside. So what that means is we could see price taking out sell side first. In this scenario, there are one or two things I could be looking for. So the first thing I'll be looking for is a potential opportunity to go long. And of course, a long opportunity will take us back towards the H4 buy side target. And the second scenario I'll be looking for is to see, so This is something that will be a little bit difficult to explain in a very short video like this, but I'll be looking to see if price created a bearish order block on the lower time frame before breaking below this low. If it did, then I will be looking for an opportunity to trade a bearish continuation from the order block towards the daily short-term range. Why is that? Because again, the predominant bias on this specific time frame is bearish. As we can see, after price took out this short-term high, price did break market structure yesterday, so the predominant time frame is bearish. Okay, right. So if we take a look then at the 1 hour time frame, just to get a much more closer picture of this. So obviously yesterday we can see price perfectly traded above 1 hour, above the high of the 1 hour range, accumulated, and then obviously proceeded to trade below the low of the 1 hour range. So if we take a look now, the pre-open range for pound dollar, the low of the range is going to be the swing low that is situated right here. Right, so this is the 1 hour, the low of the 1 hour range for now. And then of course the high of the 1 hour range is going to be situated right here. Okay, so this is the high of the 1 hour range. Now, I usually do my analysis at around sort of 6:30 a.m. before the 7 a.m. before the 6 a.m. candle closes. But I'm doing it now because it does take around 2 hours for these videos to upload, as I'm currently in Indonesia and the internet here isn't as strong as it is back in the UK. So do bear with me for now. So this is the 1 hour, the high of the 1 hour range, and of course this is the low of the 1 hour range. So now, based on these ranges that I've now identified, this is now giving me a much more clearer outlook on how I'm going to engage during the London Open. So going down to the 5 minutes time frame, what I'm now looking for is the sign of some sort of an accumulatory or a consolidatory range, right? And I can see one very clearly. So I can see that of course the market has been ranging from this high to this low, right? So this is a clearly defined range. If we go down to the 1 minute time frame, we can probably see this a lot more clearer. There we go. So this gives a much more accurate picture of the range. So we have the low of the range down here. We can see prices recently taken out that sell side, low of the range. And of course, we have the high of the range right here. Right, I do apologize. So this is the high of the range right here. So we've gone from the low to the high. Price came down, took out the high, then gradually came down, took out the low, and has gone back, taken out the high of the range again. And of course, we can anticipate price to potentially go towards the sell side, which is the low of the range. But again, I'm not here to speculate. So we have a clearly defined range in Asia. So at this point, I'm going to be looking for one or two things at the beginning of the European Open as well as the London Open as well, based on the ranges that I've identified. So I'm just going to put this in perspective. So one or two things can happen. So number one, right? Number one, as obviously price is currently gone from weekly sell side and is going towards weekly buy side. So if bullish is going to be the bias for our London Open today, then of course what I will be looking for is vector acceleration towards buy side liquidity above the high of the Asian range. And I do want to see vector acceleration trading into, so you see where these lines are defined. This is, if you remember, the 4-hour buy side target. So I do want to see price trading into the 4-hour buy side target into one of these ranges. And then I'll be looking for an entry confirmation to go short. And once I do see that entry confirmation, I will be looking to go short with a target being, of course, the low of the 1 hour range, as well as the low of the 4-hour range. And of course, the ultimate target is going to be the low of the daily range, which is all the way down here. Okay. So this is what I'll be looking for if the market is going to be bearish in London. But again, as we already know, right? Yes, our bias is bearish, but we can get days where the market can give a bullish accumulation or bullish consolidation and hold its level before eventually falling on Friday, right? So in a scenario where I do see price break out of below the low of the range, I see vector acceleration, and I do see price take out the low of the 1-hour range, very strong movement to the downside. Again, there shouldn't be any bearish order block present when price is falling. I do want to see big, massive vector candles trading below the low of the range. In this scenario, what I'll be looking for is, again, the same thing as yesterday, just the inversion of it. I will be looking for signs of accumulation, a break of structure on the 1-minute time frame, and then I'll be looking to go long with the target being, of course, the high of the 1-hour range as well as the 4-hour buy side target. So that's another possibility that I'll be looking for in the London Open. Again, I'm not sure which one will take shape, but what I do have is clearly defined levels, and depending on how price trades around these levels will determine the direction that I'll be looking to trade during the London Open. So that's it for me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful trading session ahead, and I hope this video has helped you. Again, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. Have a great trading day ahead, and see you all tomorrow morning. All the best.